Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our YouTube channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that this video is actually going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine, as you can see. Kisumu is also fantastic, and maybe you could also let me know where you are watching the video from, the county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, who is behind Ruto Raila talks or the handshake? That is one question which majority of Kenyans have been asking. Because let's face it, there is no way William Ruto's camp, led by Rigathi Gachagua and Mount Kenya leaders, would have agreed to these talks. But the talks are progressing. There is no way Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance would have agreed to Raila meeting with Ruto. But indeed, the talks are progressing. Who is behind these talks? Because clearly, that individual is powerful. And signs are now clear that the American government is behind these talks. Let me take you back to 4 months ago. For those who've been following the politics of this country, 4 months ago, there were attempts on life of Raila Odinga Odinga. His car was under attack from the police. In fact, Raila Odinga survived elimination. And then majority of Azimio supporters had anticipated that that was going to be the beginning of resistance against this government. From nowhere, Raila Odinga announced to the country that he had suspended the demonstrations. Around that particular time, a US senator, the senator for Delaware, Senator Coons, came into the country. He held talks with Raila Amolo Odinga. And clearly, majority of people who understood politics by that time clearly concluded that the American government was behind the talks. Then recently, the talks began again. And there's something which happened last week. For the first time, after the initial team, the bipartisan team was disbanded, and then a new team was formed. And that new team started meeting. And on their first day of meeting, Kimani Ichung'wah issued a statement. And the statement by Kimani Ichung'wah was a complete departure from his earlier stance. And I remember opining on this platform that someone somewhere was piling pressure on William Ruto's government and Raila Odinga to actually ensure the talks succeed. And then yesterday, Raila Odinga met again with Senator Coons. Senator Coons was the gentleman behind Uhuru and Raila Odinga's handshake. And again now, I can confidently say that the American government is actually the force behind the current moves. So in this video, I want us to look at why American government is keen on Ruto and Raila Odinga having handshake. The American government has placed 2 demands to Raila Odinga and to William Ruto. The first demand which they have placed to Raila Odinga is that Raila Odinga must accept William Ruto as the president of the Republic of Kenya. That is something which Raila Odinga has actually avoided for a very long time. I'm waiting for the day Raila Odinga will refer to Ruto as President William Ruto and not Mr. Ruto. So that is one of the conditions they've placed on the table. And the second condition they've placed, and this one to Kenya Kwanza government, is that they must allow Kenyans to exercise their rights, which is the right to picket. Remember what happened during the last picketing, where there were kind of tribal cleansing of the Luos and a kind of the massacre which took place in Nyalenda. So those are the two demands which American government is placing. But why do you think the American government is keen on having Ruto and Raila Odinga talk? That's exactly what I want us to look into this particular video, and probably the main objective of Senator Coons' visit to the country. Before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is now. Let us dive in. Why do you think the American government is keen on Raila Ruto talks? And as long as the American government is keen, I can assure you, Rigathi can do whatever he wants, he can sing the way he wants, he can talk the way he wants. These talks will ultimately lead to something. But why is the American government keen? Number one, in my view, and this is why the Coons came into the country, is the fact that the American government and the British government were the ones who made Ruto the president of the Republic of Kenya. And since William Ruto is actually their project, there is no way they will allow their project to fail. And they understand William Ruto's weaknesses. You know, politics has interest. Ruto can easily serve the American interest. But so far, I don't think the American government are happy with the way Ruto has operated so far. Because Ruto is trying to go to Russian way, he's trying to go Chinese way, he's trying to serve all this, which is not possible. And that can explain why William Ruto did not travel to Russia last time. But the truth is, William Ruto is a project of the American government. The American government would not want him to fail. They understand his weakness, which means they will want Ruto to be checked by a very powerful opposition. And that's why the demand for the creation of the office of the official opposition leader is actually coming from Kenya Kwanza. That is one of the demands they want. They want Raila Odinga to have an office which is fully funded either by the government or the American government will fund, but Ruto will have to continue because they can easily manipulate William Samoei Arap Ruto. Number two, why basically they now decided to send Senator Coons to the country is the fact that they are keen, and therefore Senator Coons was sent into the country to try and deliver. Not to try really, but to deliver President Joe Biden's message to Raila Odinga. And I'm sure also to William Ruto. And that's why people like Senator Cherargei were like, American government should not impose handshake on Kenyan Kwanza government. The truth is, Cherargei is a very small person as far as these matters are concerned. I mean, he will do nothing. He will only sing when the handshake will happen, he will just join it, and things will move on. So the truth is, Joe Biden is actually concerned with a slow process, the slow pace with which this process is moving. So I'm sure after Coons will leave the country, we should expect the process to be escalated, the bipartisan process to be escalated. Number three, if you ask me, the American government are keeping a very close eye on this process. So Senator Coons coming into the country was just to check on the process. So probably his meeting with Raila Odinga centered on the challenges. Like Raila Odinga would tell him, now these are the challenges you are facing from Kenya Kwanza. He will then report. You never know. Joe Biden might have even called Ruto again to tell him that Raila Odinga is complaining of the slow pace of the process. These are the roadblocks which are being built by his side. So for me, his coming was to check on the progress. And remember, American government are actually the bigger brother as far as these matters are concerned. And number four, in my view, there's also the American interest. You know, American government, just like any other government, have their personal interest on any country or in any country. American interest in Kenya, I can assure you, they cannot allow Kenya to collapse, Kenya to go Sudan way. Because that's actually where the country was headed. Sudanese way. They can't allow that. So they are protecting their interest. And what are their interests? You know, if you understand geopolitics so well, Kenya plays a critical role for America, even in terms of military. It plays a critical role for even the British government as far as their military is concerned. If you go to the coastal region here, that Indian Ocean, you'll be surprised to find American base there. So they want to protect their interest. They don't want Ruto to start going to Russia, BRICS for that matter. And lastly, If you ask me, Senator Coons' visit to the country is actually about fast-tracking the entire process. 1 year is already gone since William Ruto became the president of the Republic of Kenya. Only 4 years. And when will these things be completed? Do we continue with the demonstrations? How will American interest be served? Because American interest will only be served if the opposition is in concurrence. If the opposition will not agree with them, it means they will even oppose. So that's why they require the support of the opposition by granting them their wish to have an office. So Raila Odinga will have an office there. Probably Kalonzo will also have an office. But I'm thinking, who was Raila Odinga's running mate? Maybe Martha Karua, for that matter. Things will move on like that. But I don't know what you think. For me, American government will have their way as far as this handshake politics is concerned. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.